Okay, we're back with the beast. Time for some more upgrades. So, yeah, the latest marketplace, the hot place to be is on Facebook. So, if you're not in 5, 6, 1,000, Jeep Facebook pages, you're not doing Facebook right. I was contacted by Mr. Paul, and he wants to show off some of the products that he's got for his website. So, in case you can't read, jeepcables.com. We've got ourselves an entire electrical upgrade kit for the main battery cables. So this is an entire kit that he put together. He sells them by year, and it's an entire overhaul. So if your battery cables are looking like crap, you got the green death everywhere, and things are frying and just all around disgusting, well, get yourself one of these kits, and you'll be good to go. So this kit right here, this is one of the, the big three things. This has actually got, I think, 7 cables in it, and it replaces your battery cable, your starter cable, alternator. You get a fuse, you get actual terminals, all kinds of good stuff. So, let's take her out of the bag and take a look. Okay, so here is the whole kit right here. So we got ourselves 4 positive cables and 3 negative cables to hook everything up. We got 2 replacement battery terminals and a 200 amp fuse that goes from the alternator to, I think, the main relay. But this is some pretty cool stuff. So, I was actually talking to him, and he sent me 2-gauge wiring. I believe this is all fine strand copper wire, all made in US of A. All the cables are actually labeled for every single end where they go, so there's no guessing. So, real quick, let's just run down the laundry list. So first off, these are all 100% fine-stranded copper cabling. It's all made in the U.S. and by a veteran, too. So that's pretty cool that, he's getting back out there and doing some good for the world again. So that's really awesome. You can support your local heroes. These cables have a J1127 rating. So what that is just a low voltage, under 60 volt rating. So you can actually look up the specifications and see all the fancy stuff that he does to make sure that those are within spec. All the ends are heat shrunk to prevent moisture from getting in and getting all that green death, and they are gas tight crimps. So not going to be a single issue there. You notice at the end they're sealed, so that's very cool. And also, very easy to install. This kit has everything you need. There's no trips to the hardware store. You got your battery lugs, you got your fuse, every nut bolt that you'll need. Should be good to go right out of this kit. Now the nice thing with this fuse, it is replaceable. This cover pops right off. So if you're ever on the trailer, this thing blows, you can swap it out without having to worry about replacing an entire cable, and you'll be good to go. So no worries about getting stranded there. Now, Paul says for these kits, you can get them in 4-gauge, which is rated up to 150 amps, so that's fine for your stock setups. Or if you want to jump up a little bit, you can get 2-gauge, like this, which is good up to 200 to 250 amps. So, if you're rocking a big, nice alternator like I am, I got 170 amp in there. That'll keep you going. So this will actually deliver all that power without getting your cables all hot. So a kit like this will usually run you, I believe on the website, he said the 4-gauge goes for $100 and the 2-gauge goes for $140 plus shipping. And that is everything you need for a bunch of very high quality handmade cables. So, if you're looking for some electrical upgrades, go check them out. jeepcables.com. So, enough talking. Let's do some wrenching. Okay, so here we are in the wonderful engine bay. So, yeah, as you can see, this right here is our nice starter cable right here. Got some nice copper lugs, and comparing it to some of the old crusty stuff around here, it'll be a nice welcome upgrade. Because right now, the cables I replaced it with are real stiff, so they don't really give. These things are real easy. You can flex them, move them all around wherever you want, and that's because they're fine strand, which is real nice. So, you don't have to worry about them getting stuck anywhere. We're going to do a little bit of safety. So obviously, since we are disconnecting the battery, any memory presets in your ECU, your radio, things like that are going to disappear. So if your radio has a code, make sure you find that code. So we're going to take the positive cable off and, make sure the system is disconnected before we start touching any wires, because we don't want shorts and sparky things. That's bad, especially DC. I'll get you. All right, let's go get a wrench. Okay, you can get yourself a little socket wrench like that. You can loosen her up. For mine, my lugs were a 1/2 inch, so just give them a little wiggle. Oh, she's a stubborn one. Come on, you bastard. Alright, well, I know the ground one comes off easy, so I've actually taken that one off in the last however long. So, ground cable's off. Okay, that positive cable wanted to fight me quite a bit. So, yeah, just keep in mind where all your cables are. So we had our negative winch cable, and for me, I got this fan over here. We got a bunch of positive wires, so just make sure that you, keep track of everything, remember where it all goes. So make sure they don't touch the battery. Move them out of the way, and now we can start working on the system. So, we can start taking off the cables. Okay, so if it helps, things are laid out a little bit. So again, we got battery over here to starter. We've got alternator over to fuse. We've got fuse over to our center relay. We've got battery to center relay. So this is our main distribution point for our positive load. So everything positive splits off from here. Everything from your system, all that. Besides, like your winch and really high power things like the starter. We've got our ground to block over here. We've got battery to fender over here. And then we've got cylinder head to firewall over there. For the Renix and all the old Jeeps, that is the only ground that connects your battery to the body. Is this one right here. So if that one's all messed up, that's probably a good reason why things aren't working great. So yeah. Okay. So that's everything. So I guess I'm going to start on the hardest stuff first. So we're going to do the block and the starter to get the bottom stuff out of the way, and then we can just do everything from up top afterwards. Okay, here we are underneath the engine. So here's our starter. So we are after the big one over there. See that big cable that goes up there? That's the main positive. The one over there is for the motor, and the smaller one is for the solenoid, the sense wire. So we're going to take this guy off just a 1/2 inch. We'll swap that cable out. Okay, we got our old stock cable off. I can't get the old rubber boot off, so whatever. We're just gonna run it like this. Everything's still pretty sealed. Did you say seal? Or? Okay, so we will run this cable right onto there like so. We'll put our washer and our nut, tighten her down. Okay, you don't have to crank her down killer tight, just enough to know it's not going anywhere. Alright, starter is done. Okay, so now we can run the positive cable. Obviously do not connect it yet. We're going to save that for the end, so no battery stuff yet. Alright, next up is our monster negative cable. Down there. So I already took the bolt out. That is a 1/2 inch bolt. Might be a little tricky, but you'll get her out. So then our negative cable to the battery is free, so we can work that up. Now my positive and negative are in this this loom down here. I might see if I can transfer it over. So we're going to take that out and put the new one in. Okay, negative cable is in place. Beautiful. Alright, so we just got to run that off to the side. So I guess next, do the alternator, I guess, since we're here. Take our little rubber booty down, undo that. We'll undo this main starter thing. We'll get that going. Okay, so we got that relay nut off there. We got the alternator over here. So just give her a nice quick scrub. Make sure she's all nice and clean. No dirt or grime or rust or anything like that. That might help to take off all those connections and give them a good scrub if it's been a while too. Make sure that everything is making good electrical contact. So I even swapped the old rubber boot off the old one, but that's because this was so ripped it was easy. So slide that on there. Nut and washer. Okay, we had a 15mm up here and an 11. It doesn't matter if it goes in the intake or the head, wherever you have a nut and bolt that fits, as long as it's bolted somewhere to the engine. So here's the difference in quality right here. The bottom cable is one that I threw together with old parts that I had laying around. This is some real stiff wire gauge. I think this is this 4? Yeah, this is 4 and that's 2. So you can see the difference there. Looking real nice. So quality stuff, with all these sealed connections. You won't get any dirt or grime or anything like that in there. So beautiful. Alright, and since it's fine, it actually bends around. Unlike this stiff stuff, when you get the thicker strands like that, it's real hard to get this to bend anywhere. So real quick, I just want to show the sizes here. It actually does say marked on there. This is a 2 by 3/8, and this one is a 2 by 1/2 inch. So the cylinder head one actually will fit on the bolts over here, if that's what you want to do. So if you get an extra nut, and that's how it's run, then you can do it that way. Mine was set up on the intake, so I'm actually going to flip this around so the smaller one's on there. But yeah, if you got any nuts over there, feel free to connect to the cylinder head bolt and be good to go. But it's too hard and greasy to get over there, so we're just going to run it like this for now. Okay, so now let's make them battery terminals look a little better. All that dirty business ain't no bueno. So you can get one of these guys right here. This is a battery terminal cleaner. They also make ones that look kind of like acorn caps or something. But basically, you just put it on there, find the smallest size it fits, and go to town on that bad boy. And then you'll have a nice, clean electrical connection. Hopefully, you can get it on there deep enough. And we can finish the rest off with the wire brush. Beautiful. And if you're wondering, this end is what goes into the actual battery terminal that fits on here, so you can clean out the inside too. We don't have to worry about that since ours are brand new. Okay, so in case you're unsure, here's our fuse, washer, and nut, and that's all good to go. So you can tighten that up, figure out where we're going to put that. Okay, so once you got all your wires running around, you got this cover popped on and tight, we can start focusing on the terminals. So if you notice, we actually have a negative terminal and a positive terminal. I'm not sure if they are different sizes or not. Yeah, the positive is actually a bigger terminal. I know when I did my wires originally, I had them backwards, so it was a pain in the ass because one you had to squeeze the crap out of and the other one didn't really want to go on. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're doing that, because they are different sizes. So, have our terminals. We're going to save the positive one. We'll just do them one at a time to make sure all the wires fit and run. The only one that we're missing now is the battery to the fender, so we'd have to find a good spot. I guess we could use one of those, couldn't we? Just anything, really. Okay, well, depending on what your lugs are, it's not completely plug and play. So, the bolt, the main lug bolt that you attach all your accessories to, is a 3/8 inch bolt. So any of your eyelets that are smaller than that, you'll have to open up with a drill bit. So nothing too bad. As long as you got some basic hand tools, you can make them fit. So these are actually for the winch cables, so the winch cables need to be opened up. So we're just gonna get them all situated. We'll get the positive side done, then we'll take that off, then we'll get the negative side done. And then after final, looking over everything, you can hook it up and test it out. Okay. All right, so for the fan, this smaller one is smaller. So instead of trying to drill it out and have almost no metal yet, I'm just going to use the smaller tab, so whatever. All right, so for the negative, we got our negative cable, we got our winch cable drilled out. And the final one, which is going to be a new addition, is the fender to battery cable. So we're going to go negative battery cable over to the fender over here. This is a Torx T27, I believe. Yeah, T27. I just got one of these multi-tools. Just be gentle, because you don't want to break the little tab in there, because they're going to be a pain in the butt. So, just take it easy. If you don't have your fender cover, you can see them from the bottom. But, yeah, that'll be the final step. I might put a little dabble-do of anti-seize on there, just to make sure the bolt comes out in the future if need be. Oh, snap, dog. Check that out, huh? Ain't she looking pretty? So now we got our little negative cable to the fender. So just want to make sure that everything's resting where it should be, nice and proper, before we tighten it down. So a little tip right here, if you notice the inner lug I have flipped around so that it points that way. So now we have more room here. So it makes getting things a little tighter easy. So the only thing that kind of sucks is that this has to sit a lot lower. But, yeah, what are you going to do? Not too shabby. Okay, so I guess now we can crank it all down, because it's looking gorgeous. So just make sure that all your final connections are tight and nothing's shorting or where it's not supposed to be. Quick tip, if you don't like sparks, make sure all your doors are closed, because the interior lights make enough of a draw to get sparky. Okay, you ready? Should be everything, right? Got our positive, all that, the starter, we got the block, everything there, everything here. Okay. Complete vehicle detonation in 3, 2. Yay, we didn't die! Okay. And quick note before any of you guys start complaining, this is not grounded to anything. It's just kind of floating here. The metal rods go into plastic, so it's okay. Okay. Cool. And just to confirm that we are live, interior lights. Yay! Alright, wow. We didn't die, so I guess we can tighten up all the connections and call her good. Nice. Okay, so we got a slight clearance issue here. I guess we'll have to move that forward. Oopsie. So we do have clearance in there. Yeah. So that should work. I hope. Good enough for me. Okay, so now we got it running like so. Had to cocker quite the angle, but it still fits. See how that does. Alright. What do you think, Frank? Lucky there, eh? That's looking mighty pretty. I dig. So I think our electrical system should be a little happier now. With some nice, clean beef. Cool. Looking very good indeed. Well, I guess it wouldn't be proper without a start, so let's give it a little crankerino. See how that battery gauge is doing. Now this is average Renix stuff, so you know. What do you expect? Okay. Starts right up. Good voltage. Looking good. Don't mind it running like absolute dog poop. That's what happens when you have a Renix stroker and the computer has no idea how to run it. We'll get the tuning eventually. Yeah, run rich, you big pig. So, if you'd like to go from this to this. Oh, this business, huh? Huh? Then you know who to contact. Mr. Paul at JeepCables.com. So I'm not gonna lie, this is a very well put together kit. Everything fit for the most part, and I didn't really have any problems. Everything's labeled pretty cool and looking good. So I think my electrical system will be nice and happy for years to come. So yeah, very neat, very neat. Like he said himself, the cables will probably outlast the Jeep, and you know, I might not doubt him. I'm a little stubborn though, so this thing might be living for many years to come. So again, big thanks to Paul for sending me this kit to you know, review and make a video. So hopefully this fits the bill. Sweet baby Jesus. So there you go. Power cables. Now you too can feel the power. Ho ho ho.